At this stage, the main role of national societies and their volunteers is to go on with their preparedness and to inform the population, to pass simple message of awareness and also preventive messages. But we also need to be ready to do more if the situation will require so.
How many people do you think you can mobilize globally in volunteers? And secondly,
the measures that will save the most number of lives, the measures that will be the most effective one in case of a pandemic, are those directed towards communities that are, we call that simple, but they're not so simple. That will be community mobilization to make sure that quarantine are respected, that isolation of sick people will happen, that those sick people will voluntarily respect the quarantine, will stay in their house. We have to make sure that these houses in quarantine will also be supplied with food, with water, etc., etc. And measures of hygiene, caring for the sick, and measures of hygiene for individuals, washing hands, for instance, cough etiquette, coughing in your shirt or in your sleeves. These are important measures not to contaminate others, and as simple as it may seem, it will save a lot of number of lives.
That special attention should be paid to those countries. On the ground, how do you see how
Since the outbreaks of avian influenza, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies has taken actions in many countries in preparedness for a potential pandemic. These activities include raising awareness, preparing volunteers and staff, and being part of their respective countries' plans for the pandemic. While this scenario we are facing today is slightly different from the scenario we have expected in terms of the evolution of the disease, it still poses the exact same threat. The risk we are facing today is of a spread of influenza virus that is capable of transmitting from one person to the other, and that is treated from our side in a very similar way.
What can the national societies advise to governments? We've seen, for example, in Egypt, plans to slaughter significant amounts of pigs.
This appeal you see in front of you today requests 5 million Swiss francs in support for the International Federation and National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. It should be emphasized that while this will address the needs we are facing today, the needs will change, and we have seen the situation rapidly changing. This will mean that this appeal will probably be adapted as the situation unfolds, as we get more answers, and as we plan further activities.
Different will be your action in those countries?
Well, of course.